Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Alright guys, I'm back and it is Friday, August 7th, and it is 9:57 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's get into the news. Alright, well, we've got a lot tonight. Not sure if I can hold up. My back has been very, very bad. If I can hold up, I'm going to do 2 videos, but I'm at least doing 1, obviously. So let's get into this. Now, first, I do have some people I want to thank, and the following donated via coffee: Anon, thank you very much; Kim Schaefer, Gina, Anon, and another Anon. Thank you guys so much. It keeps me doing what I'm doing. We've been demonetized here, so I do depend on that, and I appreciate it very, very much. Also, Patreon. Lee Lindsay is a new Patreon subscriber, and Exploring the Autism Universe increased their pledge. So thank you very much, guys. Very much appreciated. Now, let's get on with the news. All right. Now, some of this probably should have been covered yesterday, but it's all still fairly recent news. Now, this is very, very new. Well, no, it isn't. Actually, it's from yesterday, but probably most of you have already seen this. But in case there happens to be 1 or 2 that haven't, I want to play this because it's very, very interesting. And this person, where we go one, we go all, said, "I think the shite is about to hit the fan." This is from today's speech. And this is from when Trump was at he was lecturing at the Whirlpool manufacturing place. And let's listen. It's only 13 minutes, but let me make it bigger for you tiny phone people.
So I have a lot of enemies out there. This may be the last time you see me for a while. A lot of very, very rich enemies, but they are not happy with what I'm doing. But I figure we have one chance to do it, and no other president's going to do what I do. No. So I have a lot of enemies out there.
That's very interesting that he said that, because first of all, he's saying that you might not see me for a while. He didn't say you won't see me for a while. He said you might not see me for a while. Now, he did hold a press conference today, so we did see him today, but it's very, very interesting. And he also says that he has a lot of rich and powerful enemies, very, very rich. And then he also states that they don't like what he's doing, but he's the only one that can do it. Now, I think that he's talking about what we've thought that he was doing this whole time, taking down the deep state. I think that's exactly what he's talking about here. And it wouldn't surprise me as we ramp up to the election in November that we see arrests, we see things starting to happen, but we also probably will see things falling apart too, because when the enemy is cornered, what they tend to do is they just do whatever it takes. They make all their last-ditch efforts to to avoid. And I don't think that's going to work. But let's listen one more time here.
So I have a lot of enemies out there. This may be the last time you see me for a while. A lot of very, very rich enemies, but they are not happy with what I'm doing. But I figure we have one chance to do it, and no other president's going to do what I do. No.
He has one chance to do it, and no other president is going to do what he's going to do. Well, that's true, because if someone was going to do it, they would have done it already. And I don't think there was anyone that could take on what he has taken on. And he's paid for it. He's paid for it in his reputation. He's lost money while he's president. He's the only president in history to lose money while in office. He donates his entire salary. That's never happened before. So, yeah, he does have one chance to take out the deep state and to make these arrests and get everything back on track. He's got one chance to do it. And this is a very, very critical time in his presidency, because we know that there are so many people out there that would love to see him dead. And these aren't just, Joe Blow down at the gas station or whatever, Sally Sue that serves coffee at the restaurant, not these types of people. These people are world people, global people that have a lot of money. They're well connected, and they're connected to the see me side. So yeah, there's a lot of people that want to see Donald Trump deceased. And I think that if we've ever prayed for this man, now's the time. Now's the time. All right, well, let's go back and continue on. And Senator Sanders proposes one-time tax that would cost Bezos $42.8 billion, Musk $27.5 billion. Now, this is fresh news. It is from today. And it says Senator Bernie Sanders, Ed Markey, Kirsten Gillibrand, on Thursday introduced the Make Billionaires Pay Act, which would tax tech's top leaders tens of billions of dollars in wealth made during the pandemic. The Make Billionaires Pay Act would impose a one-time 60% tax on wealth gains made by billionaires between March 18th, 2020 and January 1st, 2021. The funds would be used to pay for out-of-pocket health care expenses for all Americans for 1 year, or for a year. I don't know how I feel about that, because much as I don't like these tech oligarchs, I don't know if that was me and I had made my money fair and square, then I would not want a 60% tax just because I happen to amass more wealth than the next guy. I don't know. But then on the other hand, well, we see what they're doing. They're certainly not pro-American by any stretch of the imagination. Well, they're pro-fascist, they're pro-socialist, but they're not pro-American. Top tech leaders and other billionaires would be forced to hand over billions of dollars in wealth they've gained during the coronavirus pandemic under a new bill introduced by Senator Bernie Sanders, Ed Markey, and Kirsten Gillibrand. The Make Billionaires Pay Act would impose a one-time 60% tax on wealth gains made by billionaires between March 18th, 2020 and January 1st, 2021. The funds would be used to pay for out-of-pocket health care expenses for all Americans for a year. As of August 5th, the bill would tax $731 billion in wealth accumulated by 467 billionaires since March 18th, according to a press release. If passed, the bill would tax billionaires on wealth accumulated through the end of the year. However, under the bill, tech and other business titans who have seen their wealth shoot up during the pandemic would take huge charges. Amazon and Walmart, for example, have both seen their stocks grow as Americans increasingly relied on their services during stay-at-home orders during the pandemic. They're added billions of dollars in wealth from their top shareholders, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos and Walmart founding family the Waltons, respectively. Here's how much some would pay under the bill due to wealth gains between March 18th and August 5th, according to a release accompanying the bill. Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos would pay a one-time wealth tax of $42.8 billion. Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk would pay a one-time wealth tax of $27.5 billion. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg would pay a one-time wealth tax of $22.8 billion. The Walton family would pay a one-time wealth tax of $12.9 billion. Those figures could rise or lower as the effect of the pandemic on the billionaire's wealth changes over the rest of the year. So I'd really like to know what you guys think about this. And put it in the comments below. But think critically. Think about both sides of it. I can say that I'm honestly not upset about, Bezos and Zuckerberg. Can't say I'm upset about that because they, during this pandemic, we have been forced to rely on social media to stay in touch with everybody, and yet they're censoring what everyone can see. I don't like that. If you're if that's what we have to rely on in a pandemic, because we can't go places, we can't visit with our loved ones and so forth, we want to stay in touch with our friends, then at least make it equally accessible to all, not just liberals. However, I'd love to know your opinion on the matter. All right, so let's go on now and keep chugging here because we have Lots to get through, and let's look at this. Can't remember what this is, but I bet it's good. Hopefully. Oh, yes.
The way China will respond.
Okay. This is Joe Biden's train wreck interview flies even more off the rails with his take on dealing with China. So let's take a look at this. Yeah. Let me make it bigger for you tiny phone people. All right, here we go.
The way China will respond is when we gather the rest of the world that in fact believes in open trade and making sure that we're in a position that the world that we deal with WHO the right way. That in fact that's when things begin to change. That's when China's behavior is going to change.
If anyone has any idea what he just said, explain it to the rest of us. Really. Sorry. Yeah, really. Like, explain it to the rest of us, because I have no idea what he just said there. But that's nothing new, is it? He's just getting increasingly more and more and more off the rails, as they said here. All right, and let's listen to this one.
I have a few questions that I'd just like to get through because they are incredibly important to the Latino community. First of all, you are extending TPS, temporary protected status, to Venezuelans. Cubans, though, are now being deported in unprecedented numbers. Would you stop those deportations?
What I said, I'm going to look at the entire temporary, I'm going to look at every single country in the world that in fact is being, and this guy's sending them back. The reason why I came up with Venezuela was he's not even allowing it to exist in the first place. And so the TPS program is something I will rule on the first day I'm in office to make sure that we extend it to people. We look for too long, we didn't get it right.
No,
but here's the deal. I think that we should be extending it. Anybody can prove that they are in jeopardy to go back to their country, and the reason they came in the first place, they should be able to stay in the United States of America until the circumstance changes in their country. And that's why, by the way, I put that program together to provide. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Are you going to re-engage with Cuba, though? I mean, I'm specifically wondering about, the Florida communities that are, incredibly interested in the Cuba issue and see status given to Venezuelans while Cubans are being deported.
The answer is yes. I'm going to engage. Yes. And by the way, what you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. You go to Florida, you find a very different attitude about immigration in certain places than you do when you're in Arizona. So it's a very diverse community.
I thought he had said something about, did he? I missed that, where he said, unlike the black community. Hang on here, let's go back.
I have a few questions that I'd just like to give to Venezuelans while Cubans are being deported.
By the way, what you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions.
Okay, he said, unlike the black American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is incredibly diverse. That's a bit insulting to the black community, don't you think? I would take issue with that if I was black. I really would. All right. Well, we have to cover crazy Joe Biden. You can tell when people ask him a question, he doesn't have a clue what he's saying. He's just throwing words out there. They don't mean anything. They don't have any, when you put them together, you're left scratching your head saying, what did he say? And you can tell that he's just whatever it takes to appease the person that's in front of him or asking him a question, that's what he's going to throw out there. He doesn't have a clue. Oh yes, I'm going to look at that. My first day in office. Come on. Your first day in office? Really? Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's go back now, continue to push on. Now, as I told you earlier, there was a press conference with President Trump early evening this evening, and this kind of summarizes it. The Bradford file says, boom, Trump will eliminate payroll taxes, extend unemployment benefits, and defer student loan payments at least through the end of the year. Now, that is very, very good news for struggling Americans, because there are people that are still struggling to pay student loan debt, even though they may be unemployed, and there a lot of people, their unemployment's run out. And, you know, I don't know how much of a help it is to eliminate payroll taxes. Does that mean you're going to have to pay those taxes later? Or, see, I'm a little bit unsure about that, because I'm unsure whether they're just suspending them and will pick up and you'll end up at the end of the year having to pay taxes. I don't know. I would assume not, but then you know what assumption does. So I would need clarity on that before I could say whether that's a good thing or not. If any of you have clarity on this situation, please put it in the comments below, because it helps everyone, including me. All right, and let's look at this. It's nothing new, but seems to be getting worse. California releasing almost 18,000 inmates, including convicted murderer in virus prison break. Wait a minute. They're telling us all that masks work. Isn't that what they're telling everybody? So why not just give the prisoners masks? I don't get it. I mean, they're supposed to work for us. Why don't they work for prisoners? Do the viruses just not pay attention when it's a prisoner and just attack them anyway? I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. They're telling us masks are safe and we can go out and about and go in and shop and do everything we have to do, as long as we socially distance and wear our masks. Well, they're already socially distanced in a prison because their cells are, you know, and give them a mask. They'll all be okay. Really. Anyway, they want to punish all the law-abiding citizens instead. That's what they want to do. California prisons officials said almost 18,000 inmates in state prisons are being released. 18,000 inmates. Now, if you've ever considered getting out of California, now might be a good time. And I know that's easier to say. It's easier said than done. I know, because when I was in Louisiana, I was in a bad situation and people just kept saying, well, we'll move. Just move. Not so easy to do when you've got roots there and everything else to pick up and move. It's incredibly expensive, especially because, well, my brother ended up passing away and I had to move back to Canada. Now that is expensive. Never move that distance from Louisiana to Canada with 2 cats. I mean, there was no way I would leave them behind, but my gosh, it was awful. It was like a nightmare. Anyway, it really was. Like, I'm not joking. But anyway, I realized that it's not so easy to just pick up. If you've got your job there and your home there and everything else, it's not just so easy to pick up and move. But I'm telling you, 18,000 inmates, they were in there for a reason. And now they're going to be out among the general population to rape and pillage and murder, whatever they were in there for in the first place. That's probably what they'll continue to do when they're out. And why should their rights supersede our rights? We didn't break the law, right? So they are allowing the prisoners' rights to supersede that of a law-abiding public, and endanger their safety to keep these people safe. That is fundamentally, I mean, that's wrong on so many levels that it boggles the mind. It defies reason. And yet that's what they're doing. California prison officials said almost 18,000 inmates in state prisons are being released because of coronavirus, an increase of 70% from earlier release estimates. And you know they always do this. You give them like an inch and they take 15 miles. That's what they do. They've done it over and over and over again. The people that are in charge of California have shown they have no regard for the the people of California. They have no regard for anything, really, except their own power and wealth. And they don't care if they have to deplete your wealth so they can, have more. They just don't. This is unbelievable, and I feel incredibly sorry for you Californians. I really, really do, and I mean that from the depth of my heart. I know a lot of people write it off and say, they deserve it. No, they don't. No, they don't. Do the people of China deserve what they get under their leader? No, they don't. And okay, maybe they voted for these people, but maybe they didn't. We know how that works. We know how they steal elections. So we can't just say, the people of California keep voting these people in. Do they? Do they really? I don't know. I don't know that. And there are decent people in California, lots of them. So no, we wish them no harm at all. And this makes me very angry. And details are surfacing about who these prisoners are, including a report issued by KTLA in Los Angeles. Among those released last week was Taribi Williams, who served 19 years of an 84 years to life sentence for first-degree murder, carjacking, and kidnapping. She was deemed at high medical risk for the virus, though officials couldn't say what put her in that category. I think they want these violent people released. I really do. They want them released so they can wreak havoc on America, just like is happening in the other liberal Democrat cities. Not that California is a city, but you know what I mean. It's definitely liberal Democrat. So that's what they want to do. Now, why? I don't know. But they want America unstable for a reason. The Associated Press reported on concerns from police, probation officers, and others involved in the re-entry of prisoners into society that it could include dangerous criminals who should stay locked up. The AP spoke to the sister of the man Williams killed. Why is an inmate's rights more important than a victim's? Dina Love said to the AP. AP also spoke to other stakeholders. I would be enraged if someone killed a member of my family and then I heard that they were being let out because they were afraid they might get coronavirus. I'd be like, well, you know what? My relative never even got a chance to get coronavirus. Their whole life was taken from them. And yet their rights are more important than anyone else's? I don't think so. And also they're wanting to defund the police, so there's going to be an uptick in crime and no police to fight it. What are they going to do? Call social workers in? Call a social worker. Somebody broke in my house. They're threatening me with a gun. And that's going to do what? The Associated Press reported on concerns from police, probation officers, and others involved in the re-entry of prisoners into society that it could include dangerous criminals who should stay locked up. The AP spoke to the sister of the... Okay, we read that already. The earlier releases are also causing consternation as probation officers and community organizations scramble to provide housing, transportation, and other services for inmates who may pose a public health risk because several hundred have been paroled while still contagious. That's right. Yeah, they're worried that they'll get the coronavirus. They're so worried. They don't care about the law-abiding citizens that, work, pay their taxes, do, jobs, tend to their families, who just want a normal life. They don't care about them, but they care about these prisoners. And not only are they releasing the prisoners, but a good portion of them are already infected with coronavirus, and they're releasing them into the general public. Honestly, if I didn't know this was happening, I'd be like, no way. No way. Like, seriously, could you imagine if you'd been in a coma for 10 years and you were just waking up and somebody started telling you the news? Like, just picture that. You've been out for 10 years and all of a sudden you're brought back and you think things were like they were 10 years ago, which, weren't great, but they weren't like they are now. Anyway, yeah. It's just been a total madhouse, quite frankly, and we're doing this in the midst of a pandemic. Karen McDaniel, the statewide transportation and service liaison between community groups and corrections officials, told the AP. California Police Chiefs Association President Eric Nunez acknowledged the dire situation in the state's prisons, but said he is distressed that some inmates are being released without a consideration for the larger impact on public safety. He told AP that the chiefs want to work with prison officials on improving the decision-making process. I mean, this is absolutely insane. Insane. Now, who are they? They're emptying these prisons out. What are they expecting to fill it with? Because that's my next thought. Are they releasing them because they want the space for someone? I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not talking about the deep state. I'm talking about, are they planning on rounding people up? I don't know. I mean, I know that's out there, but I don't know anymore. Because this is way out there. Way out there. And honestly, I wouldn't believe it unless I knew it was actually happening. Officials said that some 8,000 inmates have been sickened by the virus and 51 have died. Almost 2,000 prison employees have been infected and 8 have died, according to AP. Well, yeah, so let them all out and infect other people. Right, because their rights are more important than ours, apparently. Now, and the thing is, there's no saying that they will stay in California. I don't know. Maybe they'll be on parole and they'll have to check in, but maybe they won't. I don't know. But please be careful out there. If you are in California, please be aware. That's a lot of people released. 18,000 people released. And if just a small portion of them are violent, can make a huge difference in the crime rates. So please be careful. All right, and let's go on now. Let's push on to this. In 1977, Biden said integrating black students would turn schools into, quote, a jungle, a racial jungle. Yeah, he said, I don't want my children to grow up in a jungle, a racial jungle. Joe Biden's controversial remark on Friday morning, where he told millions of black Americans across the country they ain't black if they supported President Trump over him, has caused some people to look back through his career. And if you do that and look back through his career, what you're going to find is a racist from the beginning. Very, very racist. And what I don't understand is, remember when he was talking about, the kids used to, there was corn pop, and the kids, they used to like to rub my legs down because they were blonde in the summer and they'd rub them down just to watch them come up again. But then he said, he called black children roaches, and everybody skipped over that. Everybody has skipped over that. He called them roaches. Wonder why the media ignored that. Now this from Sheila on Twitter says rioters are starting to march into neighborhoods, setting fires, beating drums, and screaming vulgar words, spray painting sidewalks and signs. Next week, they will be spray painting homes and getting shot. This has to stop now. Well, tell that to the Democrat leaders, because they are not addressing it. They are ignoring it, calling it peaceful. Yeah. Nothing says peaceful like a bullet to the head. Right. So anyway, it does have to stop, but I don't think that these Democrat mayors and governors and so forth are going to stop it. They're not. All right, and this is Sweet Girl on Fire. Dear Plexiglass, I love this. Dear Plexiglass, thank you for protecting me from the cashier that just touched everything I'm taking home. I laughed when I saw that because it's so true. You're behind this plexiglass, but they're touching all your groceries and everything. So it protects them from you, but it doesn't protect you from them. I'm just saying. Oh, but we have our masks on, so I guess everything's fine. You can't get it if you're wearing a mask. No, that's what they'd like us to believe. So really, why do we even need plexiglass? Anyway, let's push on now. Alrighty. And let's go here. Because we can. All right. Okay, and this is the same thing that we saw just earlier. Joe Biden just said that Latinos have diversity of thought, unlike Black Americans. I think we're all aware of that by now, and I don't know why I put it in there twice, but, you know, better twice than not at all. Okay, and let's look at this. Things that make you go, huh? Michelle Obama, coronavirus, an opportunity to change how wealth is distributed. Now, she looks really good there, although she has this big triangle on her face right there, but no, I'm not going to play her. Wednesday, on her new podcast, former First Lady Michelle Obama called coronavirus an opportunity to think about how wealth is distributed to lower-income essential workers. Obama noted the power that would enable what we could do to allow such actions. Journalist Michelle Norris said, there's kind of a new COVID vocabulary, isn't it? There are also words that have always had some meaning, but that takes on different meaning now. The word hero, the word essential. She continued, I think we will forever think about the word essential in a different way. And when we are told to stay home, they got up, got dressed, and went into the world, risking their lives to drive garbage trucks, to work in warehouses, to work in grocery stores, to work in hospitals, often doing invisible, but yes, essential work. And I struggle with it because I'm not sure that we treat them like they're essential. Excuse me. Obama replied, and that's something that we need to do. That's part of that reflection that we need to do, you know, with ourselves and as a community. And we have to think about that in terms of how wealth is distributed, you know, how these essential people are supported. And what does that mean? A lot of these people are broke. They don't have health insurance. That if they were to get sick, as essential as they are, we have not, as a society, deemed it essential to make sure that they could go to the doctor and get the care that they need. And even if they get COVID care, even if they get tested, to keep working and doing our stuff after the effects of the virus have worn off and they are dealing with some lung issue or some breathing issue or asthma, that they don't have to wait in an emergency room for hours on end and then worry that they can even afford the prescription medication that they need to survive. I mean, we have to think about this. We have to think about the people who are not from this country, who are essential workers. A lot of those folks are still out in the fields picking our corn and making sure that our food is in the grocery stores and working in these meat packing plants to ensure that the cow that was slaughtered gets into our bellies. Later in the podcast, Obama said it's not enough to just acknowledge that the pain exists, to acknowledge the struggle. We actually have power. We can change so much of what we do. We can sacrifice a little more. We can shift priorities, and not just in our own lives, because it's not enough to do it in your own life. If you're not willing to do it in a broader policy, you know, if those conversations aren't going to happen, then we're giving lip service to it, you know. She added, we've seen these times in our history before, not just like this, but when things are good, it's easy to forget that, to take it for granted, to start thinking, yeah, how much do I really want my taxes going to that and school lunches? You know, that's a lot of money. What does it matter? Let's cut this, let's chop that. But all of that came, all the things that we look to were put in place in response to some crisis that revealed to us that, hey, there are a lot of hungry kids at home because their parents are poor. So what's the best way to feed them? We're going to provide them with nutrition at school. So we have it in our country's DNA to step up. She concluded, always with great opposition, because you're asking people to sacrifice, to give up things that they think they deserve, that they're entitled to for the sake of greater good. Well, you know what? Nobody wants essential workers to be paid fairly than me. But when somebody with her wealth, his wealth, their wealth, starts saying you need to give up more, you need to sacrifice, what has she sacrificed? What has she given up? You first. You have the wealth to make a change. You first. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, now let's go on now. Okay, this is very strange. I don't care who you are, it's strange. not in a bad, strange sort of way, just in a very strange sort of way. This by Peg Gentle. This is a picture taken today when President Trump was boarding Marine One to travel to Ohio. I thought it was unusual that it appeared that staff members were out watching him leave. I've never witnessed that before. Well, I can't say that I have either, but indeed, they all were standing there watching him leave as if they would not see him for a while, which is exactly what he stated when he was in Ohio. So where is he? Where's he staying? Has he been taken to an alternative place for safety? Is he not staying at the White House? I would assume not. I would assume not. Because here they're all out there saying goodbye to him like they're not going to be seeing him for a while. And when he gets to Ohio, he announces, okay, I've got powerful enemies. They're not happy. You won't be seeing me for a while. You might not be seeing me for a while. So where is he staying? I would assume that he's somewhere very safe and probably somewhere that we're not even aware of. That's what I would assume. I could be wrong, but I might not be. And let's look at this because this is strange. George on Twitter, well, and it says George at the collective Q, not just politics as usual, real news. Well, he's gone from Twitter, but it doesn't say that he was kicked off or that he violated rules or anything like that. He's just gone. What does that mean? What meaneth this? I don't know any more than you do, but again, very interesting. Very interesting. All right, let's look at this. Again, this is fresh news from today. Counterintelligence report. China prefers that Trump loses election. I bet it does. I bet it does. Why would China want Trump to win the election? I mean, the other presidents were just so much better to China. They let China get away with ripping the USA off for years, decades. So yeah, that's not a surprise in the least. William Evanina, Director of National Counterintelligence and Security Center, issued a report on Friday which concluded his agency believes the Communist Chinese government prefers that President Donald Trump does not win re-election in November. We assess that China prefers that President Trump, whom Beijing sees as unpredictable, does not win re-election. China has been expanding its influence efforts ahead of November 2020 to shape the policy environment in the United States, pressure political figures it views as opposed to China's interests, and deflect and counter criticism of China. The report, that's very poorly written. The report reads, the report also found that Russia is attempting to denigrate presumptive Democrat nominee Joe Biden. This is consistent with Moscow's public criticism of him when he was vice president for his role in the Obama administration's policies on Ukraine and its support for the anti-Putin opposition inside Russia. The findings read, pro-Russian Ukraine parliamentarian Andrei Derkosh is spreading claims about corruption, including through publicizing leaked phone calls to undermine former Vice President Biden's candidacy, and the Democrat. Some words I just stumble over, which, if you're a regular listener, you're aware of that already. Yeah, and the Democrat Party, some Kremlin-linked actors are also seeking to boost President Trump's candidacy on social media and Russian television. Furthermore, the NCSC found the Iranian regime seeks to undermine U.S. institutions and President Trump's agenda and to divide the country in advance of the 2020 elections. Iran's efforts along these lines probably will focus on online influence, such as spreading disinformation on social media and recirculating anti-U.S. content. Tehran's motivation to conduct such activities is in part driven by a perception that President Trump's re-election would result in a continuation of U.S. pressure on Iran in an effort to foment regime change, the report said. China's anti-Trump stance comes as little surprise. Biden has recently downplayed the notion that Beijing poses a threat to the U.S., while his, Hunter Biden, has cut highly lucrative deals with Chinese firms, even while his father was vice president. We talk about China as our competitor. We should be helping and benefiting ourselves by doing that, Biden told supporters in Ames, Iowa in January. But the idea that China is going to eat our lunch, it's like, I remember the debates in the late 90s. Remember Japan was going to own us? Give me a break. In 2013, Hunter Biden's investment firm scored a $1.5 billion investment deal with the Bank of China just days after he traveled with his father to visit China. Breitbart News senior contributor Peter Schweiz's bombshell book, Profiles in Corruption, Abuse of Power by America's Progressive Elite, revealed the younger Biden has ties with Burnham Financial Group, an entity used to do deals with secretive Chinese companies. So that is not surprising news. Interesting, not surprising. All right. Now, let's go back and continue to push on. Okay. American Citizen says California prison officials said almost 18,000 inmates in state prisons are being released because of the coronavirus, an increase of 70% from earlier release estimates. What's your thought on this? Well, we've already looked at that. And Gavin down here, Maple Sugar says, Gavin Newsom claims masks work. Give them to inmates instead of unleashing them into the community. In my opinion, he's building up Antifa and Black Lives Matter armies. That's exactly my thoughts. Option 2, give them hydroxychloroquine and zinc as a prophylactic. Well, that's an even better idea. Sure, because we know the masks don't work. Yeah. Well, let's go on, shall we? Of course we shall. And here's Manny, the crazy Cuban. America, did you, I think he means, did you know that Susan Rice's son, John, who is 20, was inspired by the Tea Party movement to become an outspoken pro-Trump conservative leader at Stanford University? Finally, people are beginning to wake up. Boy, I wonder how she feels about that. That's her son. Susan Rice's son. He is an outspoken pro-Trump conservative. I like that news. And nobody can make me not like it. Okay, this is weird, and you've probably heard this by now, but let's take a look. Just saying it's weird, and I totally believe it. All right, Mariah Carey's sister accuses their mother of alleged sexual abuse at satanic worship meetings. Allison Carey says abuse took place during middle-of-the-night satanic worship meetings that included ritual sacrifices. And this is her. She definitely does have a resemblance to Mariah Carey, no doubt about it. Mariah Carey's sister has accused their mother of letting strangers sexually abuse her when she was a child and involving her in satanic rituals, according to a court filing. Allison Carey made the accusations against her mother, Patricia Carey, 83, in a summons filed with the New York Supreme Court in February, according to Fox News. In the court documents, the 57-year-old claims her mother allowed men to engage in sexual acts with her when she was 10 years old and made her witness people engaged in sexual acts with adults and children. According to the suit, the sexual abuse occurred during middle-of-the-night satanic worship meetings that included ritual sacrifice. As a result of the above, plaintiff has been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and major depression, leading her to misuse both legal and illegal drugs in an attempt to suppress the horrific memories and to undergo extensive professional counseling, the summons reads, according to the outlet. Allison now demands compensatory money damages for immense psychological and physical damage, mental pain and anguish, and intentional infliction of severe emotional distress, the documents filed in Ulster County, New York, read. Allison, who was arrested for prostitution in 2016, is representing herself in the case, according to page 6, with the outlet reporting her mother, a former opera singer, has not responded to the summons. In 2018, Allison, who is reportedly estranged from her famous younger sister, claimed in an interview with The Sun that a family member used to take her to rituals in the early hours of the morning. And notice here, while they try to cast dispersion on Allison by saying she was arrested for prostitution in 2016, well, that's not uncommon. If you talk to people if you talk to experts, they will tell you that people that are physically abused, not physically, but sexually abused, tend to go either one of two ways. And a lot of times they end up very promiscuous because they think they're not worth anything anyway. So, yeah, so that's not uncommon at all. And that doesn't mean that she's lying. So the ceremonies or rituals were always between 2 and 4 a.m. and they weren't every week, as far as I can remember, just certain dates, she said at the time, adding that everyone would wear long robes with black hoods. The Independent was unable to reach Patricia Carey for comment. You really think she would comment on that? But it wouldn't surprise me because we know that Mariah Carey's, she's up to no good. So wouldn't surprise me that it's an all in the family and Mariah Carey's sister didn't go that path of, Mariah and her mother. Thank goodness she didn't, and I hope she gets the help she needs. All right, well, let's go on now because there's more. There's always more. Let's look at this. Let's change his name from Sleepy Joe to Sleazy Joe. Yeah, let's look at this. Hang on.
The only one in mind.
Let's make this bigger for you tiny phone people now. And let's start this again. Hopefully you can read this yourselves. Maybe I will. It says claims he went to law school with full scholarship.
The only one in my class that have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school, and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school, 165 credits, only 123 credits.
I now concede he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76 in a class of 85 at the University of
that's
Syracuse
bad.
Law School.
Now Biden said Newsweek is right, his memory failed him.
After 47 years of dishonesty in politics, I think it's time we rename Sleepy Joe to Sleazy Joe. If there was ever a Purple Joe...
Scholarship, the only...
Yeah. So all these claims that he went to school with a full scholarship, he didn't. That he got 3 degrees, he didn't. That he graduated top of his class, he graduated near bottom of his class. Like that's an embarrassment. And yeah. So do we want this person as president? I think I can hear a resounding no. All right. Let's look at this now. No, really, let's. Okay, now this is interesting. Yesterday, Donald Trump, this may be the last time you'll see me for a while. 17 boxes were behind him at Whirlpool. General Charles Q. Brown was sworn in as the AF chief. 6 odd explosions in 24 hours. Military aircraft fills U.S. skies, and apparently it really has. Let's look at this. These are all military planes. It's a lot. So, what is going on? I don't think anybody knows, but I'm thinking that maybe these arrests are really going down. That's what I hope, and that's what I pray. But I don't think any of us know for sure. I think we'll know when it's done. It's over and done with. But if you see anything in your neck of the woods, let us know. Do you see anything strange? Are there military copters overhead? Or you see anything strange in the streets or whatever? Let us know in the comments, because, we can't have eyes everywhere. We only see where we are. So If you notice anything strange at all, let us know, because something odd's going on. And this person says, and standing in front of the flag of the 17th state of the Union, Ohio, count the stars on the flag. And yeah, interesting. And let me see if there's anything else here. And this is interesting. Whirlpool equals circling the drain. Drain the swamp. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else here. Whirlpool, watch the water. He was at a laundry machine maker. No coincidence, those rich, powerful people he spoke of are about to go down. Big money laundering takedown. Do not stop praying for our president and his cabinet. I agree. You know, if the lower part of the P was gold, it would be too obvious. Yeah, because it would be a Q. Oops. Just wanted to see if there was any more people adding some insight, because every little bit puts the whole picture together. And you guys do that for me sometimes. You'll add things in, and I'll think, oh, I hadn't thought of that, or oh, I didn't know that. So it all adds to the overall picture. And so I'm not sure that anybody's adding anything here. So, all right, so let's go on now. Let's push on. I'm going to stop fairly soon, because I think I will do another video, because I'm awake, and I might as well, right? Because there's lots more news, and I'm sure you guys won't, care if I do another video, so I think I will. But let's go back here and try to milk all we can out of this one, and let's look at this. Yeah, it says this is jaw-dropping. Cognitive decline, an alarming look at Joe Biden. Now, this is alarming, and okay, there we go.
That was totally different than he called the World War II. He had the War Production Board.
Have you taken a cognitive
No,
test?
I haven't taken the test.
Why the hell would I take a test?
Most of the meals I eat, quite frankly, don't have meat. A lot of chicken, fair amount of fish. That's my little sister, Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh no, Valerie switched on me. This is my wife, this is my sister. They switched on me. Barack Obama led in the in the pandemic that occurred. So I looked at it anyway. The next president starts tweeting should anyway. My time is up. Keep the plan you have.
Thank you, Vice President Biden. Senator Sanders, 45 seconds to respond.
Poor kids are just as great.
Sorry that it keeps buffering.
White kids. We gotta. It's just, but you gotta. We gotta reassure. Look, here, my message. Look, here's the deal. Meet this climate crisis. It's my coaches say it's go-to time. Excuse me. Make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words. There's only a couple things everybody has in common in jail. Number 2, can't read. All men and women created by go. You know the thing. I am very willing to let the American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness. Go to Joe 30330 and help me. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Okay.
Now, that, when you put them all together like that and see them all, not that, there's lots that they left out, but the ones that they put together like that, it's alarming. And it makes me feel very sorry for him. Now, I know he's a criminal. He's done so much wrong, but he's elderly. He's obviously in mental decline, cognitive decline. And what bothers me is, I know there's people saying that he's acting. There's no way he's acting. You can see the lost look in his eyes. There's no actor that good on the face of the earth. I don't believe he's acting. I really, really don't. And you could see Jill's eyes, like she gets kind of like, so yeah, anyway, I think you know where I stand on that. Now, let's see. Well, I think we still have enough to do another video. So I'm going to pause there so that I can get this uploaded, so at least you'll know that a video is on its way, and then I will do another one, at least to finish the things that I have, the items that I have, so we can start fresh tomorrow. All right, let's leave that there, and hang on here, for heaven's sakes. Yeah, I look like Farmer Jane, don't I? In my little plaid shirt here. Yeah, I kind of feel like a farmer. Well, both my grandparents had dairy farms. I've had to milk cows by hand and all sorts of stuff. And I kind of enjoyed it. I really loved it. I wish that I could go back and live on a farm, but my back couldn't handle the work. So anyway, that's it for tonight. I hope you guys are doing so well, and stay safe and keep seeking truth, because you know it. Deception bites. I'll see you in a bit.